I've arrived with a kind of a serious video I wanted to get across. Um, this is just a question. It's a little bit of a rant, but more of a discussion piece. Can you separate the artist from a person? I bring this up because I used to be a collector of Nickelodeon shows, and one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows was Ren and Stimpy. In fact, I actually have the DVD box set right here. But news has just come out pretty recently that John Kay, the creator of Ren and Stimpy, has been accused by two women of sexual assault. Now, what I see a lot when people hear this news is they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he did it. I'm so ashamed of him. I can't watch Ren and Stimpy anymore." And while if these accusations are true, shame on John Kay, but I can separate the art from the person. And with music, we have to do that too. Or, in a lot of cases, we've had to do that. Chuck Berry, one of the greats of rock and roll. One of the best people out there for music. But he's done some pretty bad stuff too. Chuck Berry, he was arrested in the early 60s because he was transporting a minor over state lines for bad purposes. And then also, later on, he had a restaurant and he was, he had a little bit of legal trouble because he put a camera in the women's bathroom. Those are pretty despicable things from Chuck Berry, but I can still listen to that. I can still listen to this record and not feel like I'm doing something wrong. And of course, with the Beatles, a lot of people like to say John Lennon abused women. I don't know if I believe that. Me and Mr. Mayo said some stuff about how John only did it once, and the media's kind of portraying John as this violent man who was a hypocrite. John, in the words of me and Mr. Mayo, John was a flawed human being, but he didn't have problems showing it. There's a lot of flawed musicians and flawed people representing the art that we love, but I don't think that it needs to be compromised just because of that person's actions. Rolling Stone magazine put out, I think a year or so back, top 50 comedians of all time, and they put Bill Cosby at number 8, and the whole thing that they put in the description of him was just about his sexual assault allegations, really. It said something along the lines of, you can't really ever play Bill Cosby records again because they don't have the warm feeling that they used to after the news had come out. And that he's just tainted and forever tarnished his legacy forever. But to scrub him from the walls of comedy would be impossible. And that's probably the only reason they put him on that list, is because he was so legendary. Personally, I think Bill Cosby is a funny comedian. I am ashamed of what he has done. I'm ashamed of him for what he has done to those women. But I don't think that should be a deterrent of someone trying to get into that person's art. And also kind of to tie back into the Nickelodeon thing, some other pretty recent news. Dan Schneider was fired or mutually left Nickelodeon after complaints of abusive behavior and a lot of suspicious things in his live action shows. Now that stuff's pretty suspicious, but will that make me stop watching Drake and Josh now? No, it won't. But a lot of these SJWs nowadays, or maybe not SJWs, although they do this a lot, just people in general, when they hear something bad about someone that they used to respect, they said they forever tarnished that legacy. I can't listen to them. I don't think we should do that. Anyway, that's my little rant, or just my discussion piece. I wanna hear your guys' comments below. I don't necessarily always talk about the comments that you gotta comment, but for this video, I really want to hear your thoughts. So, Yeah. This is the Crazy Music Geek. I have departed.